Hello friends of YouTube, and well, really anywhere in the world. I hope this video finds you well, wherever you're watching from. As you know, it's a given that things are always changing, constantly. Whether your life individually, or somebody else's, or just collectively, as a whole, us here on this planet, things are always changing. Tides are constantly shifting. And this can be kind of a hectic and disorienting factor to life. Sometimes this can come off as a curse through our irrational modes of thinking. But the beautiful nature of change can bring about beautiful opportunities if you yourself are open enough to experiencing them. So as for today, 2020, I think we can all agree that this year can be summed up in pretty much one word, and that is insane. 2020 so far has been gnarly. With the coronavirus specifically right now, I think is the main focus on everybody's mind. We're in a time when really nobody at all knows what's going to happen. There's the amount that is uncertain is unprecedented, I would say. I think that we can all agree that this time, compared to any other, is one where none of us really have any idea what to say or what to expect, and that's scary. That's something that not everybody has ever put themselves in the situation of thinking about before. I myself included could have never expected us to get to this point that we're at right now. Along with the coronavirus and just everything that's going on collectively, just in my own personal life, a lot of change has been going on recently. I just recently moved in with my girlfriend, officially, and at the same time, coincidentally, my mom got a new place. So as I moved into my girlfriend's house, I at the same time had to move my mom and help her get out of my childhood home and say goodbye to basically where I grew up. So on top of the coronavirus epidemic, I'm having to adapt to a new lifestyle, which has been mainly exciting and completely worthwhile, but for myself has definitely been a time of contemplating what's next. What is the future going to look like? I think a lot of us can agree that's where we're at right now. We're thinking, what's next? Where are we going to be a month from now? What is the world going to look like? And I think that's a totally fair question to ask. Now, I can only speak for myself and the experiences that I've had in my own life, but the reason why I'm making this video today is to hopefully shed some light on the subject of change and uncertainty and the fear that goes along with it, which is a natural part of life, obviously. So I want you guys to all do me a favor real quick. Pause this video for a second and think the farthest back you can to your early childhood, of the earliest memories that you have of being afraid. And I'm talking completely terrified, like the first times in life that you are stunned with fear and don't know where to look to for relief or answers. And so I wanted to think of a good example in my own life that I can think of, an early time where I had no idea what the future was going to look like. And for me, that was in 4th grade. My mom, my single mother who raised me, and we got evicted from our house due to, I forgot what happened. I think it had something to do with some repairs that we couldn't make or something, though the landlord should have taken care of it. It was something that we caused that we couldn't afford to fix. So we got evicted and we were forced to live throughout different motels in town. And I remember as a kid, at first it was really exciting, right? I was like, oh sweet, cable TV, comfortable beds, free breakfast every morning, right? I was stoked. Until a month later, we started having money troubles. My mom ran out of money and we had to have our family help out. And we were pretty close to being homeless. Thankfully, my mom pulled some strings and was able to find us a room to stay in for, I want to say, about a year before we moved into the last house that I grew up in till recently when I moved out. I just remember thinking, like, with no past experience to base this off of, I was completely insecure, completely frozen with, like, my food going to come from? Where is my roof going to come from? Where am I going to sleep? And these are totally logical questions to ask yourself, even when you're 9, 10 years old, the age that I was at the time. Now, obviously, I got through that tumultuous time of my life, thankfully, and I can say that I landed in a pretty good situation that I'm very grateful for, the way that I grew up in my second half of adolescence. So my point with using these examples of our early childhood and times that we were more afraid than we've ever been before is that the difference between now and then is that back then our fear was quite juvenile, if you really think about it. We didn't have much knowledge or past experiences to base our fear off of. Therefore, our fear was pretty naive relatively to now. Whereas unlike today, anytime a fear pops up, our minds pop open the filing cabinet of memories that we have to try and analyze and dig through tangible evidence that justifies the fears that we hold on to. And you can thank your limbic system, by the way, for every time that you experience this. There's a part in our brain, if you look up the limbic system, that basically has to do with our fight or flight response, which I'll get into in a bit. If you really think about it, your mind is no more naive than it really ever used to be. The only difference now is, sure, you've been on this planet long enough to say that you've survived this long, so obviously you're wise enough to know what dangers to avoid and what wrongs to right so that you don't make the same mistakes that you've made in the past. But simply that's what this fear is. That's why we have the function called fear. It's an indicator to avoid things that are dangerous. But the problem is we believe every single story that the fear-mongering part of our brain tells us. So part of living life to the fullest, honestly, is learning to become mindful of your fears and what they entail. This can be a super uncomfortable process to most people, but the rewards of learning to control your fears rather than letting them control you are immeasurable. And so there's a quote by an author that he entitled The Serenity Prayer, and it goes as follows. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So what does this serenity prayer imply? Inevitably, there will always be a lack of control to some degree, right? And I believe that wisdom comes from honoring that and learning to distinguish the difference between what we can manipulate versus what we must accept within our environment. And so this brings us back to the fight or flight term that I was talking about before. So the nature of the limbic system and its fight or flight response is that in any given situation that may imply danger, we have really three options, right? We have the fight, which is to engage with, or flight, which means to flee and run off, or to freeze, which is just to freeze in fear and have no idea what to do and basically cower and drop down into fetal position. Only one of these is going to be the wrong choice in the face of true danger. I'm sure you can guess which one I'm talking about. But the message here is to keep moving. If you are in actual danger, if you're facing something that's truly dangerous and potentially harmful, you just keep moving. You either engage with or you move away. You just keep moving. You don't hold still. Now the good news is that the majority of this fearful mental activity comes at a time when we really don't have much to worry about in these immediate moments. So it's in times like these where it's perfectly appropriate to freeze and really be still, right? Not just freeze and get caught in your head and just be stuck in fear, but to freeze and just take a moment to be still and look around and analyze, truly inquire whether or not you are in danger. So remember when I was talking about our memories and our fears back then versus now, and how now we have a lot of knowledge and memories and past experiences and media to remind us of all the things that we are in danger from in this hectic world. Well, the truth is that when we're stuck in a state of fear and our minds are trapped and riddled with ideas of how our future is going to take an absolute turn for the worst, we're pretty much functioning at half capacity at best. When we're stressed and fearful for long periods of time, we're not thinking as clearly, or we don't digest our food as well, and we don't sleep as deeply. And those things alone will cause us to not function at full capacity. And what that means is that it's pretty much in all of our best interests to calm the mind and practice getting better at becoming friends with the fear that we experience, rather than running away or suppressing or really going deeper into our fear and causing us more stress than what's needed. And now this is where mindfulness comes in, my favorite topic. Obviously, I talk about it pretty much almost every video that I've ever made so far. So just like any other muscle, it needs to be worked out. So the more you practice and work out your mindfulness muscle, here or there, wherever you want to consider it, the stronger it will become. And the stronger you will become in your times of fear, stress, anguish, confrontation. And so step one, start becoming familiar with your fears. Start to watch its patterns, see the way in which it arises, and see how it comes up. See the inner dialogue, listen to your thoughts. Start to really, from an outside perspective, don't engage with them, but watch your thoughts, see what they're saying, see what these fears are originating from. Because typically we're in a great state of mind, we feel good, we feel at peace, and then all of a sudden, before we even know it, we're stuck in fear. And usually that's triggered by one initial thought or emotion. So learn to start becoming familiar with these activities. And so from here, you're able to approach your fears from more of a vantage point. And eventually you'll find yourself at a place where you're able to invite your fears in, which gives you more of a capacity to see through them, to see where they came from, and to see where you can put up a guard of acceptance and peace to let them just pass through you, rather than latching onto them subconsciously and becoming completely stunned by them. Now again, this is something that takes some time. It's not, it's easier said than done to just see your fears and be like, man, don't need those anymore, and just throw them away. It takes time. It's if you watch my last video, I talked about walking meditation. This is really one of the biggest points in which you can utilize it, is when you're afraid or when you're stressed out, is to really go inward and look at them and see what they're trying to tell you. See if you can learn something by being there as a witness rather than a victim of your mind. So an important thing to remind yourself of on a daily basis is, especially on this quest of trying to befriend fear and uncertainty, is that nobody in this life is without fear. Those who are fearless have simply learned to transcend them and rise above them, really. Anybody that says that they don't have any fear and has never experienced it in their life is either lying or missing an amygdala, which is another part of the brain. And if they're missing an amygdala, then that means that they have a whole nother problem to worry about. And so let's go back to talking about current day. The whole world is freaking out. The coronavirus is an epidemic that has affected literally every single person that I know. Some people drastically, some people mildly, but either way, we're all in this together. And this is something that pretty much everybody is worried about. I believe that we're in a time when learning to practice these skills of befriending your fears and becoming fearless really is totally crucial. I think that it's gonna be what's gonna keep people sane versus the people that are just gonna lose it and become completely depressed and panic. The world our lives aren't meant to be completely pain-free and smooth and easy. I mean, I think that it's a revolutionary time where we need to come together and, make art, make music, write, make YouTube videos, right? If you're gonna talk about your life and your hobbies, great. People need that. There are people out there that want to learn about your boat model making collection, and there are hopefully people out there that need my videos, and because I know I myself watch a lot of YouTubers that make similar videos to mine, and I need their content, right? So use this time to really hunker down in your cave while we're in this kind of quarantine mode and make art, but also along with that, contemplate where you want your life to go after this is all finished, right? And how you want to carry yourself. Reach out to those you love. Tell them how much you love them and how much you care about them truly, because this is times where we're reminded of what to be grateful for, but also who to be grateful for. I know we're going to get through this day by day. Remember that the future is never certain. We never know what's going to happen. These stories that we tell ourselves are only going to make us more stressed and more uncertain. So do yourself a favor in the next month, however long it takes for things to go back to somewhat normalcy, drop all your ideas of what the future is going to be. Relax and be still and face your fears externally, but also internally. Just face them and meet them for what they are, just indicators. Anyways, I just wanted to make a quick video to just talk about how we can utilize our fears rather than be completely controlled by them. I hope that you guys gain some info out of this. Please be sure to share this video if it's helped you and you think it might help somebody that you know. Along with that, please subscribe, comment down below, like this video, and let's, again, have a conversation. Much love to you guys. I'll see you in my next video coming soon. Take it easy.